people. Ooh, I'm on my Magnum. Fuck, I haven't found anybody in literally like 5 minutes. There we go, finally. Oh, I got magnumed. Hey guys, this is Zero T, and today I'm bringing you a post-patch Gunmaster gameplay on Operation 925. We only played a couple of Gunmaster games. You know, we were trying to test out the new MK3. They changed it from frag rounds to flechette, so we wanted to see if that was actually true, and how effective it was, and how it changed the whole Gunmaster gameplay. And they're also supposed to have changed the LVG to make it a more lethal kill radius or something like this, and see how easy that makes it, or how different that makes the whole gameplay of Gunmaster. So this is me and my buddy 99 playing, and we did a lot of weapons testing, mostly infantry stuff yesterday. You know, messing around with different weapons combinations, different guns, different attachments, all this kind of stuff. And we just hopped over, test out the Gunmaster real quick, and I thought this a good gameplay to put behind my opinions of this new patch and stuff. So firstly, I guess the most important thing on a lot of you guys' mind is how the M16 changed with this added recoil, and it is just added recoil. So before patch, M16 had rather moderate to minor recoil, both vertical and side to side, and the patch slightly increased both of those. So with the M16, it's you can feel the added recoil, but if you're a skill player and you're used to countering recoil properly, I mean, just after like 100 kills or so, or maybe even less than that, you'll probably have a good feel of it. And it's not like they nerfed it to unusability. It's still probably a rather effective weapon, and close to mid range. But one thing I think that the added recoil really hurts is the long range accuracy of the M16. I only used it a couple rounds, and actually scrimmed with it a couple games to see how it would be in comp play, and it's manageable in a lot of these situations. Except long range, it's really hard to stay on target and to draw people. Next up is the M416, which they wanted to make radically different, or something like that, something different than the M16, and I think the M16 actually has less recoil now than the M16 ever had. So, along with it being more accurate, especially at mid to long range, M416 is clearly going to be a new favorite of a lot of people. So it's got the reduced accuracy. I mean, the reduced recoil with the first shot and a little side to side, and that, along with the fact that it was already super accurate and pretty deadly in the right hands, it's going to make that, you're going to see a lot in the future. The AEK, it wasn't really changed from pre-patch. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. You know, all these guns, they say that they lower the recoil. I mean, not the recoil, but the reload. They lower the reload times on a lot of these weapons, and it's really hard to feel that. It doesn't feel like the reload's shorter on any of these weapons. Like, I tried my favorite KH 2002, that was supposed to have a lowered reload. Hard to feel. It didn't really notice it. My buddy who tested the AS Val, which had was one of the few that had both the long and the short reload increased instead of decreased. He said that it was noticeably longer, and as that was just kind of like a fringe average weapon in the first place, there's not a big point to using that, especially with the PDW buffs to the M5K and the UMP. Both are really good choices now. UMP, really good close range, you know. Mid-range is still useful, but you're not going to have the accuracy to hit people at longer range, along with the lower damage. So one thing I have discovered that's really fun post-patch is the suppressor buff. Suppressors are really fun to use again. They don't have that same, or they have a lot lessened. Let me rephrase this. Dice, they lessened the decrease of the damage that the suppressor gives. So you're going to be doing slightly more damage than you would, but it's probably less than it was pre-April patch. But it's still really fun, and it's legitimate to use the suppressor again. So a lot of games yesterday I was running around with like super suppressed kits, like the suppressed AEK was really fun to use. Even I tried the suppressed M16, it was fine, but again, you can't hit anybody at long range with it. But you know, the suppressed UMP is an excellent option. You're not going to have a lot of viability. You're a little bit of viability mid-range, but mid to long range, you're not going to be really effective, even if you had no suppressor on the UMP. So you add that suppressor on with the laser sight, you still have really good hip fire, and you stay off the mini map. Excellent kit. Pistols, they changed a lot. You see the 9.3R earlier in this gameplay I had a little struggle with, even though it's one of my most used weapons. I think it's the 5th on my top used weapons. I've used a lot in M9.3R, even before they made it super powerful, but it's going to take a little while to relearn it. It's been a while since pre-April patch M9.3R use, so I think it's still going to be okay, but it's not nearly as consistent, and it doesn't deal nearly the amount of damage as it did pre-patch. So pistols you're going to want to look out for 9.3R, or not 9.3R, but the 1911. I've been using a lot of the suppressed 1911, and the suppressed M9 is still a really good bet. You can tap that really fast, and still pretty accurate. So those are my favorite two. The Rex also got a really big buff. I know a lot of friends really like the Rex, but I've never been a fan of it. It's got that kind of giant block sight with a little dot you gotta aim with. No. The Magnum seems pretty much the same as it did pre-patch. I only used that for a couple games. Not a big hit on that, but if they're gonna make the Rex really powerful, you know, if you're a Magnum user, might want to try out the Rex. I personally don't like it, so I'm going to stick with my Magnum, especially for my sniping kits. But I guess for my assault kits, I'm going to be running 1911 suppressed or M9 suppressed. And I'm going to be using a lot of suppressors. Having a lot of fun with the suppressors again. Got a little sidetracked there, but back to the PDWs that they've changed. The M5K had a huge buff with this patch. It's really effective weapon, and it's really fun to use, especially with the iron sights, laser, and you get the extended mag instead of the suppressor. But you need the extra bullets with it. It has a little more recoil than a lot of the other PDWs, but it's all vertical, so it's really easy to counter, and it's a lot of fun to use, especially since you can use it with any kit. Besides that, look out for the M416 being used a lot. AEK is going to be used just as much. I mean, all the people that like the M16 but don't want to use the 416 probably going to be using that, even though it's pretty much the same as was pre-patch. So I want to thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed this gameplay, and talk to you guys later.